sure if there's a few people listening in. Yeah, great. And what we're going to do is myself and Gillian, we have great fun and laughter. And we have the wonderful Trevor below. And what we're planning to do is on a weekly basis is to infuse your day and your week, hopefully, with some joy and some fun and some laughter and some ways on a regular basis so we can bring more happiness into our life. And myself and Gillian just have to spend a few minutes in each other's company. And we're generally laughing and we're all positive for the day. So we thought it was a good idea because neither of us can shut up and stop talking. So we thought it was a good idea for us to share some positivity and some tips. Obviously, I'm a mind coach. And so that's kind of what I do. And Gillian also has an incredible, inspiring story. And she is a really inspirational woman who is constantly, you know, carrying on throughout her adversity in her life and bring joy and to everybody around her, because she is a very bright, very, very bright lady. But also what I love about Gillian is
she's swelling.
But she's very, very funny. So I think we kind of start off with that topic. And Trevor is also too. He has a few good jokes as well.
I get all my jokes in Danielle.
My jokes are the best, yeah. But it's all about kind of bringing laughter into our day. And at Success, Sean is saying, get her a bigger hat. Hi, how are you? Maybe you'd like to join us as well. Would you like to join us, Success, Sean? But basically, we are going to give some maybe I'll start off with my top tip for today would be laughter, because that's kind of what we started off with. Our subject was to bring more laughter into your day. And I think every day it's really, really important, because I won't go too much into the technicalities of your conscious versus your unconscious mind. But we take everything in unconsciously all the time, right? So we know that we take everything in because 93% of your mind is your unconscious brain. So we're influenced all the time by all this stuff. And a lot of the time, unfortunately, with media, and Gillian knows this, the media can be very negative sometimes as well. So we're constantly being fed all this stuff between television and radio and newspaper. So it's nice to sometimes switch off and bring some positivity back into ourselves and make a conscious effort to do so. So I think that's a great thing to every day, to start your day with some laughter. And I always say this as well. I spoke about it on the last blab about your gratitude journal, having a gratitude journal the night before. And also what a lot of people don't do is have a gratitude journal in advance and plan your day in advance and write down what you're going to be grateful for in advance. So that's kind of my first tip that I would start off with. So
how do you do that?
Repeat that, Gillian, because you're slowing down a little bit.
I understand the gratitude idea, but how do you plan for gratitude in advance? So you say, I am going to be grateful today because I'm going to win the lottery, is it? Or
well, I would start, I mean, you can do that. I would start with, you could. But you know, you may be disappointed. I mean, I suppose somebody who's very much into the law of attraction would disagree with that maybe and would say to do that. But I would say plan for stuff that you know that can happen and is down to your mindset, because you know I'm kind of very practically minded about the mindset side of things, and it's all about stuff that you know it's down to your mindset. Deep down, logically, you know it's down to your mindset. So, but emotionally, sometimes our day goes in a different way, and something that we kind of know we shouldn't have gone off the handle about, or something that really shouldn't have bothered us, does bother us in the moment. But if you plan it, I mean, you've heard it said before, and I keep saying it, everything is created twice. You know, you create it first in your mind and then you create it in reality. So if you plan in advance for your day going well, so for example, you might say, I might write 3 things that I do every morning. I'd write, okay, I'm grateful for the food I'm going to eat today, because there's a big chance that I'm going to eat during the day. Or I'm grateful for seeing the people I love. Or I'm grateful for being able to breathe. Or I'm grateful for just being able to have the gift of sight, or whatever it is. You know, you just plan in advance stuff that the odds are well stacked up that you will have happen.
I guess it's a bit like yesterday. I could have said I could be grateful because I was going to enjoy the Ireland-France rugby match. Now, I really enjoyed it because we won, but it was super rugby. So, you know, I guess so. I was going to watch it with friends as well. So I was going to have an enjoyable time, regardless of the outcome. As it happens, we won. So I had an even better.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's a perfect example of it, Gillian.
Oh, okay. Well, I can do that. Well, I suppose it's a bit like being grateful I'm going to chat with you today because I know that I'm going to laugh. So whatever happens, it's going to be good.
That's it. That's perfect example. What about yourself there, Trevor? Have you any examples of how you plan to be grateful?
Well, I put a little Facebook post out this morning that just said, "Hello, Monday. It's good to meet up with you again," because I haven't had a Monday for a week, and I thought it'd be nice to see Monday again. Everybody's tweeting, "Oh, Monday, Monday. I can't cope with Mondays. Get me to Tuesday," and it's like, what's wrong with Monday? Come on, So my messages keep popping through.
If you have Monday, when would you start the week? You'd be a bit lost, wouldn't you?
Why'd you have to start a week?
Or how would you get to Tuesday?
Well, it's just another day, isn't it?
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it.
Just another day.
You didn't have Monday. You wouldn't have had Monday, and you wouldn't get to Tuesday.
Exactly. There's all good ways of looking at it.
In some of this.
Exactly. And Roy, hi Roy. Roy is saying his question is, I'd say I'd be grateful in advance for running water and indoor plumbing, for example. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then Trevor, you were saying plan and visualize. Exactly. Plan and visualize your day. I mean, I just came back from a lovely weekend away. Hi Roy. You've seen some of the pictures. I know Gillian and Trevor did. I had a great weekend. It was very quick weekend, but we did a lot of driving. But we went all over the west coast of Ireland. And up kind of around Mayo. And it's actually a very evocative, quite a sad area as well in places, because it brings you back to, I suppose, maybe a time, I mean, my history of, like, for example, bad times like the famine, and it wouldn't be great, but I have a general idea of it, but it's kind of very evocative. Like we went, for example, down Patrick Head, over, I don't know if you know where that is, Castle Boy, something like that, beside Ballina in Sligo. And I know, for example, there's been a lot of, for example, suicides there, and it's a very lonely, wild place, and it really brings emotion up. It stirs emotion up. If you imagine yourself, if you were poor or lonely, or for example, we were at the foot of this mountain called we kept on saying the effing mountain, but it's the Neffin mountain. That effing mountain. I can imagine myself living under it and going, that bloody effing mountain.
I'll tell you, I don't know the exact spot, but I know the Connemara, and it's all Sligo and around that part of the world, so I got a feel for it. And I did write a poem a while ago, and I think the best thing about that kind of landscape is there's nothing there to spoil the view.
That's true. Now it's really, really beautiful. But what I was thinking of, because we came across, I don't know if you've seen pictures of it. There's a little part where we took photos of this little remembrance spot where there was 15 people from the village. I've forgotten the name of the village, but it's right under the Neffin mountain in Sligo.
You are not a very good tourist guide.
Just go to the village under the Neffin mountain. But there was a little remembrancing, a lovely little beautiful, it was really, really lovely spot, but it was very, very evocative because it was about 15 people that lost their lives. They walked from there down to Cork and got the Titanic. And they obviously they were lost at sea when the Titanic sunk. And it's very sad because it kind of brings you back to those times when things were so tough. And I know obviously the potato blight and obviously the famine was a particular situation. But if you imagine yourself and you're in a situation like that where you're in the middle of a land where we don't have internet, we don't have phones, we don't have all of this, and you're leaving your country and everybody that you know and love to travel over the other side of the world hopefully for a better future, or to make some kind of life for yourself. It must have been a very, very scary time. And what it did for me was it was very sad, but it was also made me realize how lucky we are. We really are lucky in this world at the moment.
I guess it has direct and immediate parallels with the refugees coming over from Syria. And we lost, was it 1 million emigrated and 1 million died? And then how many people died in those we had the coffin ships back then in the 1850s. So it speaks very directly to the cause and the plight of the refugees escaping from their countries now. And the boats no better or no worse than the ones that our forebears jumped on. So it's quite sobering, actually.
Yeah. But it's very sad, but it also made me realize how lucky I am and how lucky I have been up until this stage, even though I've been through what I would call adversity in my life. It made me realize I've been through nothing really compared to what some people have been through and are going through right now. So, we're talking about gratitude. I mean, the simplest things, it makes you be able to drive off in a car and look at the view and realize you're not in pain, you're not hungry, you're not starving. Our troubles are minor, in the big scale of things. And it made me feel very appreciative,
It's like, if you can complain about maybe, perhaps you complain about the bills, you can't pay your utility bills, but that means you have electricity in your house, and you have, as someone said earlier, I think Tony said, you have running water, we may protest against the water charges here in Ireland, but at least we have water piped into our homes, and we have waters to flush the toilets and have showers and boil the kettles and stuff like that. So on the one hand, if you look at it, it's how you perceive everything, I suppose. A bill is not, no one welcomes a bill, but means that you have a service too as well, and hopefully means a pay in it as well.
Absolutely. So I think gratitude is probably one of the main keys for me. If we're keeping on this subject, happiness. Sorry, I went a bit downhill, but I think you have to have the yin yang, don't you? You have to have the dark and you have to have the light to see the light.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Totally, because if you don't have, into everyone's life, a little rain must fall. And then the other thing too as well, because we're very depressing here now, but I always say that sometimes when you think you've got these huge problems and there's something really bothering you, whatever, but if you go in, say you met a whole bunch of people and they all brought their problems into the center and they put them down on the floor in front of them, if you looked around at other people's problems, you'd go and say, oh my God, mine aren't half as bad, and pick them up and run away and say, thank the Lord, I only have these problems.
I think an interesting one of problems and views of problems, and it reflects back to something I wrote when I was in Scotland a few years back, is that you share it with people, don't you? And I saw Danielle's photos and you could see the delight in wanting to share what she was seeing, wanting to see her experience, because she wasn't alone. And I was in Scotland many years ago when I was single but seeing somebody, and I had to go by myself. And I wrote a little poem here, a very short poem. I was in Scotland with mountain scenes. Here is such an empty space, a huge and vast empty place. And there's something missing that spoils the view. And that something missing is being here with you.
Oh.
And to me, the view was empty because I wasn't there with now my wife. She wasn't my wife at the time, but she was working on it. And I think it's very apt seeing Danielle's pictures of the weekend. I think the smile on her face may have been slightly different if she was there by herself. And that happiness can build when you bring people together and share that happiness together.
Yeah.
Surprised by joy, I turned to share the transport of that joy. And it's actually very sad because, alas, it's his child who's died. So it's a very gloomy thing, but it's, again, to share, if you had the beauty and he wanted to show his child, and then he went around and for a moment he'd forgotten that the child had died. So I'm making us very depressed. You started off very nice there, Trevor.
This is called the Happiness Blab.
But yeah, no, absolutely. It's about sharing the love and sharing your experiences and telling people. And yeah, we're so lucky in this day and age that we can have this facility here and we can post our photos on Facebook and we can show people and tell people. So yeah, no, absolutely. Sharing is if we're talking about another tip, I would say, and I'm not saying it because to sound good or to sound corny or cliche or anything like that, but giving, I think, is probably one of the nicest things and the best things that you can actually feel joy yourself. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm sure we've all given something, whether it's something physical or something, or time or whatever, something materialistic, or even just a time or a smile, whatever. Yeah. But it brings more joy back to you.
Yeah, as I keep saying, kindness is no good if you keep it to yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
You've got to give it out. You've got to give it out to other people.
Yeah, and on a mind side of things, just to explain it. I mean, maybe I've said this before. Maybe I hope I'm not repeating myself, but I get somebody that comes to me for public speaking, for example, and they say, one of the biggest fears is public speaking, right? So you say if you concentrate and focus on the person or the people that you're looking at, and keep on focusing on them, and thinking, you know, how can you help them best without not a reflection of yourself, like thinking, what are they thinking about me? But if you're focusing on what they're thinking as in what's best for them, it's impossible for you to feel bad. It's impossible for you to feel bad because you're not thinking of yourself. You're thinking of them. So that's a perfect example of how the mindset, if you're in the mindset of thinking about somebody else, you're going to feel good. You can't feel bad. It's impossible to feel bad.
If they're sad.
But if you're thinking, how can I help them? Okay, well, if you're thinking, how can I help them? Well, if they're sad. But if you're thinking, how can I help? How can I best serve them? So if you're, you know, right here now, so the people that are listening in, how can we best serve these people? I mean, they probably have some great ideas themselves how they can serve us. But how can we best, you know, if we record, we have this recorded, what is our best advice to somebody? We've all been through our own troubles. We've all been through our own hardships. I mean, I see Jeremy here is talking about, okay, Ganda and stuff. Yeah, absolutely. In Africa, we have it easy over here. We you know, our hardships are first world problems, absolutely. But it's all relative, isn't it? It's all subjective. There's still people, for example, that are taking their life for stuff that maybe people in Africa would say, oh my God, it's a minor problem. I agree, absolutely. But unfortunately, it's still happening. So how do we get that message across to somebody that is, you know, suffering and is feeling totally in a black hole right now? What is our best advice for them? Because I mean, I've been to the point of feeling that desperate. And now I look back and I think, my God, it was so stupid and so selfish and so ridiculous. But at that time, I felt so down and so black that I felt like there was no way out. Okay, so my best advice is focus on little bits all the time to increase that amount of happiness in your life. And I know when you're in that place, you feel that you've no happiness, but it's about every day creating new habits every day, tiny little bit more. It might be simply as, okay, I don't feel like getting up out of bed today. I'll get up today and wash my teeth. Okay, I'll get up today and drink a glass of water. I'm building it up from there every day more. Okay, I don't feel like going for a walk. Everyone's saying go for a walk, get out, get fresh air. I don't feel like it, but I'll go outside and I'll sit in my garden. Okay, maybe. Or, okay, maybe I'll listen to some music, or maybe I'll make a cup of tea for myself. It might be something as simple as that. So every day build on that and build on that, and you will slowly start to feel better. And obviously, of course, I speak about focus most of all, focusing in the right direction mentally. If you focus on looking back at the past, you're just going to keep looking back there. Okay, if you focus on looking forward and asking the right questions, asking what can I do to improve my state right now? What little thing can I do to improve my state right now? And it might be as simple as just smiling. Because even no matter how stupid you feel, if you're feeling down and you're feeling desperate and you're feeling like really, really bad, even if you feel silly for sitting in your room and smiling to yourself, it's a better state. It's a better state than feeling like overwhelmed and you know, like the whole world is going to cave in. So even feeling, okay, now I feel like a plonker, it's still a better state than feeling desperate. So you're moving yourself out of that state. So that's my advice.
I read, and I've read, I guess, a speech or a talk, maybe a TED talk that backs that up. And this woman who had a difficult life herself, issues, you know, nothing, you know, first world issues, whatever. And then she was working, I think she was lecturing actually in an MBA class. But she couldn't get over the fact that men tended to be more, as a gender thing, men to be more assertive and asking more questions. But also that she went and looked at how the men were all sitting compared to the women, and the women were all kind of like this, whatever. And the men were all, you know, stretched out here, feet up on the desk, and they had all this sort of positions of power and stuff. And they actually conducted a survey afterwards, and they measured, now I don't know what things they were measuring, but they were measuring something in the hormones, testosterone, whatever, I don't know. And they found that the men had increased levels, even aside from the fact of gender, but they had increased levels for the women. But then what they did was, they did this test, and it was so funny, this trial, the thing about, you know, you fake it till you make it idea, they made the women do these big positions and do, you know, put their feet up on the table or assume the Superman position and all sorts of stuff. And then they measured the same hormones afterwards. And even though the woman had done nothing in particular except assume the position, those things, as you can tell, I'm very scientific, but and it's actually true, because going back to your saying smiling, you know, sometimes you go along and you're feeling a bit, you know, under the weather, not great, whatever, and you pass someone on the street or you at a bus stop or on a shop and you smile, or you have a conversation with someone in the shop, and it could be the most stupid thing going, you know, and I'm saying, where's my off switch here? but you do smile and you laugh and you're gonna walk away and you go, oh, okay, and it does jizz you up. I don't know,
It's simple. It's simple things. My wife's president of the local WI, and she luckily went to the centenary celebrations of Royal Albert Hall this year, and she's wanted to go to the Royal Albert Hall for years, and she got to go to the Royal Albert Hall and watched a presentation by Lucy Worsley, sort of historian person who's doing a speech, and she'd already read Up into the Past, and she does these sort of power positions, which is open arms and just standing in certain ways. And I was watching a live stream in our local village hall because the WI were live streaming it, and it was a very powerful presentation. The next speaker came on, which was and I don't want to down the presentation, but she was into female networking in the banking industry in London, and she was a high flyer city exec, and she had no power posing. She just stood there, mumbled on for 10 minutes. No one listened to her. It was dead boring. We all went off and had a cup of tea and came back. And the difference in the two was night and day. Anyway, when my wife Rosie came back, she was doing a cooking. She makes jam. She was doing a jam making demonstration at Grand Designs in London, and she said she came onto the stage and did the power position. And she said it was just transformed her presentation.
Really?
And I'll do back a bit. Here we go. It's just open arms like this, welcoming people like that.
Yeah.
Such a simple gesture made all the difference.
Virtual hugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I would relate to that. I mean,
I'll take a very, very quick call. I'll be.
Oh, Trevor.
We can talk about him now.
we'll talk about it. But yeah, I was just going to say about what Trevor was saying, that our language, obviously, our language is made up of so many different parts, and like the smallest part of it is actually your the words that you use. The words that you use are only 7%. Your actual body language is something like 57%, and then the other, whatever it was, 40-something% is made up between your tone and your the inclination of your voice.
Tone.
Yeah, exactly. Tone, all of this, but 57% of some of that is your body language. So, and obviously your facial expressions, your gestures, all of this. So how you communicate, it's definitely not in words. I mean, I'm always saying it to my partner. So it's not just the words you use.
The smile doesn't go past the teeth if they're not.
Yeah, I mean, if you smile like this, I don't know, I can't do it. I can't do a bad smile. Oh, we have Roy. I'm going to let him join in for a few minutes as well. Joining us.
Look, new faces.
Hello, Roy.
Oh, he's on audio.
Hey guys. Yeah, Danielle. First, let me say hi, Danielle. Nice to meet you. Jillian, hi. Nice to meet you. And
Hello.
Trevor, good to see you as always. So I'm going to take a little bit exception to what you're saying and what all the statistics say, because I was not asked to be a part of that survey. So as far as the body language, the smiling faces, the eyes, and all of that, I get it. I totally get it. But you can't say that that is 100% scientific across the board, because I come on audio only and I do just fine in communicating with the right people. Does that make sense to you at all? And you can't see my face, you can't see my eyes, and even if you could, I could fake all of that. Go ahead.
I agree. Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a very, very good point. I mean, we're going by statistics and going from what I hear. So it could very likely not be exactly true, but that's a kind of an ongoing scientific report. But
yeah, it's a misnomer. People have to add at the end when they state these things to people. See, this is one of the things that I am standing up for. I'm standing up for the people like myself who say, you know what? If you apply that to me, you will miss me. You will miss out a lot. And I'm really sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm not. I completely agree with you. And I think obviously if I can't see your face, we're going to, make our estimation or whatever you want to call it based on the other.
Absolutely. I do not want you to make any kind of assumptions about me because of the way that my face looks, because you will get the wrong read. I already know this. I've been doing that for 6 years and people get the wrong read. So it's easier for me not to show my face and for me, yes, to use my voice.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but that's exactly my point. We make an estimation based on everything that we see and hear. So it may not be right. I never suggested that the way we perceive somebody is the right way. I mean, for example, before I started learning about all this stuff, for example, there was a guy, and I've used this example a number of times, that I really couldn't connect with, and I found him very rude. I thought he was very rude, okay, because he never looked at me when I spoke to him. Okay, so whenever I spoke to him, he was like this. Okay, and I always thought, oh my God, this guy, I don't know what I'm doing, but he's just so rude, like, and he's not interested, and blah, blah, blah. And I've had this argument also with my partner in the past many times, right? But it wasn't until I learned about all our different communication methods that I realized, hang on a second, everybody doesn't communicate the same way as me. Okay, so just because I use eye contact or because I smile doesn't mean necessarily that that's somebody else's communication style. So I learned, things about how somebody might be more auditory, how somebody might be more, kinesthetic or feeling based or whatever, and they might have a different way of communicating. So I completely agree with what you're saying. But what I was saying was that I think we do tend to judge people, and that's why you're saying you don't want just somebody to judge you by looking at you. So I'm not suggesting that it's right. I'm suggesting that that's what we do.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. That is the default state. Most people will judge by what they see rather than what they hear. And it's here's what I've been saying for a few years now, is that we now have, at least in my estimation, for about the last 25 years, we have this phenomenon in world history that is called the internet. We are now able to communicate with people without boundaries. If there were people in space and they had an internet connection, we could connect with them, okay? So here's what they need to do. Every single book in schools at whatever grade level, first grade level on up to the higher education levels, when we talk about social science, when we talk about social studies, we need to include cyberspace. We need to include what goes on here. It is completely different than face-to-face communication when kids are on the playground together than when they're connected to each other through this thing called the internet. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It is different. We cannot say that it is the same, and you cannot apply the same statistics that I'm hearing so often when people say to me, and I've had this happen to me already. It's like, Roy, this is a video platform. What are you doing coming on with audio only? And they actually believe the words that are coming out of their head. And they say to me, I can't have you be trusted by me. I can't make any kind of observation just by the tone of your voice, just by the way that you're saying things. I need to see your face. And you can't participate, so goodbye. And it's like, I don't have a problem with that. I will leave. This is your whatever, your blab, your hangout, your this, your that. I will leave. I'm not going to argue the point, but my point is, and I'm not saying this egotistically, I'm saying they're going to miss out. They're definitely going to miss out because I know I have some good things to share, and just because you want to see my face, I'm afraid you're going to miss out. So I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to come up when you said what you said, Danielle, because I wanted to give people an opportunity to hear the other side. One side always sounds true, but when you hear the other side, it makes you think. And now you go, I wonder if maybe they should, actually ask Roy to participate in these statistics, because I don't need body language. I don't need to see. I just need to hear. If I ask you the right question and you give me the wrong answer, I'm done with you. You don't need to be a part of my life. Step aside, let me pass. But if you answer correctly, it's like, oh, this is somebody I really need to consider for my inner circle. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Body language is overrated. Anyway, I didn't want to make this a rant. I just wanted to share my.
Roy, there's a great saying. Don't take this the wrong way. There's a great saying. I don't know whether it covers the world, but they always say over here, that guy's got a great voice for radio. A good face for radio.
Good face for radio. There you go, Trevor. Yeah, and that person's got a great face for radio.
That's it. And I've been in radio studios. No, Danielle's on Radio in Ireland. And when you get a good radio presenter, they are gold. And I've sat with some professional radio presenters in a radio we did, and the magic they can create with their voice. They have a body language through their voice. And not everybody can do that. but it's magical when you get it happening. And so yeah, some people need body language. Perhaps that's just the way their brain ticks and picks up on. But if you get a good face for radio, it's magic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with what everybody's saying in the sense of I don't think myself and Roy have a different opinion. I think we actually have the same opinion. All I was saying was that we that's how we perceive the world. It doesn't mean it's necessarily right. I mean, obviously, Roy.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. So sorry for misunderstanding what you were saying, because I just wanted to come and give my point of view. And if you agree with that not everybody can read everybody else, like the gentleman you were saying, he wasn't paying any attention to you. Well, some people can do that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I also know that when you're out networking face to face, body to body, belly to belly, and people start to talk to you, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, they're looking over your shoulder to see who's next to talk to. I get that tells you a lot about that person. It's like, oh, they're bored with me. They want to go look for somebody else to talk to now. Do you understand what I'm saying? But that's not always the case necessarily, because they could be looking for their friend that may be coming in the door or whatever. So there's a lot of different ways that we can read each other's body language, and there's no one interpretation. And if you do take it as that to be gospel for you, you may miss that person and what they're really attempting to say. So always ask with your voice. Did you mean this when you nodded your head? Did you mean this when you looked over my shoulder? So ask them about their body language. Did this mean this, or did this mean that? Because if you just assume, yeah, you might get yourself in trouble. And I just wanted to be the voice for those people who don't necessarily know this already. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm just giving people an alternative perspective, because I don't hear people talking about that. I just hear about them talking about these statistics. It's black and white, it's set in stone, and that's the way it is. And Roy, if you don't participate in this face-to-face thing that we got going on here, then I can't trust you. And it's like, that's your, it says more about you than it says about me, but I get it. So
yeah,
I wanted to share.
Can I ask a question? So I understand the point you're making. It's very well made, and it's interesting. And as we agree, it's probably not. We're looking at perceptions versus judgments and all the rest. But there's a question for you: do you, as a point of principle, never show your face in blabs, or is it just on this occasion, or you just have a poor internet connection?
Yes.
Okay. You see that? Okay.
I asked you questions. And they weren't both. One had to be yes and one had to be no.
Did you understand, Jillian?
No.
See, did you see how your question is very confusing? Because I answered you, and you don't even understand my answer when I answered you. Your question is malformed.
I don't know which question you were answering.
That's correct. That's my point, is that if you don't ask the right question, you're probably not going to get the right answer. See, my point is this. My point is that your voice is more important than your face. I don't care what statistics say. So if you tell me, Roy, your face is so much more important than your voice, I want to see your face and I don't need to hear your voice, then I'm going to tell you no.
Okay.
That's wrong.
Well, I would disagree with that, because I think that, with all respect, I think that different people have different representational systems. Some people prefer to speak face to face. Some people prefer to speak, audio to audio. You obviously are very
but it's a preference, Danielle. So you don't speak on the phone?
I do speak on the phone, absolutely, yeah.
And do you have video on your phone?
Quiet on the phone.
No, what I'm saying is,
in other words, if you've never built a relationship with anybody just strictly on the phone, voice to voice, that's all I'm saying, is that you don't need a face. You can build a relationship voice to voice. Now, if you want to take it deeper, I totally agree with you. And you say to that person, look, I've been voice to voice with you, whether it's a client, whether it's a friend, whatever the situation. Now I would like to take it to the next level. Can I see your face? Can we meet? Can we go to the coffee shop? Can we go take it to Blab? Can we take it to whatever video? And if that person is agreeable, then that's fine. But if the person doesn't agree and says, no, let's just keep it at a voice to voice, will you then dismiss this person? That's my question.
No, no, absolutely not. I wouldn't, because I would understand what their representational system might be. But what I'm saying is, I think it's the same, the opposite way around, without dismissing somebody else's favorite representational system. We all have different ways of communicating. So, for example, if I'm dealing with somebody, the first thing, if I have a client, the first thing I will do is ask them a series of questions to find out what their favorite representational system might be. And then I will communicate back at my best in their way, so as to best build a rapport and put them at ease. You know, if we're taking it in a situation, in a business scenario, for example. So I think that the same way as not dismissing their voice, I don't think we should dismiss the visual side of things. It depends on the individual.
People are different. If I agree with what you're saying, Danielle, I could say something like, I hear what you're saying.
Exactly.
Or I could see what you're saying.
Exactly.
And depending on how I answer that, you know whether I listen or I see.
Yeah,
that's my personality.
I was never at all insinuating that I think one representational system is better than the other. I'm just saying that we all have different ways, and all of them can be important to different people depending on what your preferences are. And all of them are, because I mean, you might not. What happens if your favorite representational system is sound, is vocal, is auditory, and then you lose your hearing? Then what do? Then you have to adapt other representational systems, or you can't hear them, or vice versa. Your favorite is sight, and then you can't see them, like you're saying, and you can only hear them on audio, you're on the phone. So of course you're going to base your judgment on that. Unfortunately, that's what we're going to make our judgment on, is on whatever representational systems we have available.
Yeah, my only point, and I totally agree with you. So my only point is that when certain people who I have encountered say video only and don't give the opposite side,
okay,
equal, just, deserved right, so that everyone in the room and on replay will hear and understand, because some people take other people's words as gold. And so all I wanted to say was, please don't misrepresent the fact that what you're saying when you quote statistics. You know, I don't know what it is. I don't know if you said earlier or not, but body language is what percentage of communication as opposed to words? Do you have the statistics?
Yes, but that's not what I'm not suggesting is that's not what people's are favorite. That's the statistics, but that's not necessarily what in a conversation will be your favorite means of communication. So it depends on it's all subjective. It depends on the encounter.
So is there a statistic that says body language is blank percentage of communication, or is it a range? Is it 1 to 10%? Is it different in other people, or is it set in stone in a, you know, some sort of a, because most of the time when I hear this, they say it as if it's set in stone, that your words are very small as far as the actual communication, that body language makes up a more significant part of the communication than your actual words. And I totally disagree with that.
Yeah, there is a statistic of that. But for example, if we take this scenario, we can't see you. So we are making our judgment based on, we can't include visual because we don't have it. So the statistic in this case will change. So now we've got your voice, the words that you use, your tonality, your tone, your pitch, your volume, your speed, and we have to base we're going to make unfortunately we make our judgment based on that because we don't have sight. So the statistic will change depending on the situation. That's my point.
And I like Smiley.
But I do like your answer. Your answer is the correct answer. But when I engage people that say, no, this is like 83% of all communication is body language. And Roy, you better get on cam, because if you don't get on cam, then I can't communicate with you and I can't trust you. When somebody says that to me, I already know I'm speaking to someone that doesn't want to have anything to do with me personally. And as I keep saying, I'm afraid that they will miss out. And that's okay, because I will play their game in their Hangout or their Blab or whatever. My point is, not everybody that they're going to come in communication with here in cyberspace online. I mean, some people don't even want to do what I'm doing. They would rather text.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what kind of a statistic do you have for communication like that? Do you understand what I'm saying? This is the cyberspace, the internet has changed the way humanity communicates with each other. And unless they give both sides of the coin when they say these statistics to people, a lot of people are going to be left in the dust, and they're not going to understand what they don't already understand. Fortunately, God has given me, and my father helped, and my mother helped me to have a brain to think on my own, and I don't take statistics when I wasn't asked to be part of that, survey. So if you ask me, all of you can be off cam, and I will still know within 15 minutes if I want to talk to you again, if I want to build a relationship with you, without ever seeing your facial expressions, without ever seeing any of your body language.
I think it depends on your favorite. Again, I think it depends on obviously your favorite representational system is sound. So for you, you feel comfortable with that. Somebody else may not feel comfortable with not.
It doesn't matter about comfort. What matters is, can you do it?
Well, it depends on the individual. Some other people may not.
Of course you can do it, because we do it on the phone all the time.
Well, some people hate speaking on the phone, for example.
But it doesn't matter. My point is, you can do it. And if you don't want to do it, that's another scenario altogether. All I'm saying is, people can make a determination on whether or not they want certain people in their life without body language. That's my point.
I would agree with that. And I think
that's all I'm trying to say. And if I just simply let people hear the other side, now people can make a decision for them, because I think there's a lot of people that I think this is a great haven for the introverts of the world. A lot of people are saying, oh, this is a haven for extroverts, and I get it, but it's also a haven for introverts.
Okay, I think, and I agree with your point. The only point I would disagree with you saying see the other side, because it's insinuating that I was saying the opposite, and I'm not insinuating.
No, I didn't mean you personally, Danielle. I just came up because you started the conversation in such a way that I thought, you know what? Let me see if my 2 cents will mean anything. So I didn't mean to belabor the point. I totally agree with what you're saying. Okay, I'm on your side. I just, with those people who are very rigid and say, Roy, I can't build a relationship with you and I can't trust you. So all I want to say is thank you for the opportunity to share my side. And I just want to ask you one question. Do you trust me?
Do I trust you because I can't see you? Yeah, I would never.
No, this is a yes or no answer. Do you trust me? Yes or no, Danielle?
As yet, my answer, it's not a yes or no answer. I would have to get to know you better. I couldn't say I trust you because of one.
Okay, so you either trust me or you don't, right? There's no in between, right? No. So your answer is no, and I get that. That's fine.
But it's not
that's like saying, do you trust me to mind your child, or do you trust me to make you a coffee? What level of trust?
No. The question is, do you trust me? Yes or no?
I don't think it's that simple. I think trust is.
Ask me, Jillian, if I trust you. Ask me.
Do you trust me?
I do. Yes, I do. 100%.
But based on what? What premise?
It doesn't matter what I base it on. I trust you. It's just real simple. See, here's the problem. See, if somebody doesn't trust the other person, if I have to build up trust to you, tell me what it takes for you to trust me.
It depends what I want to trust you with.
No, it has nothing to do with what you want to trust me with. You either trust me or you do not trust me. And if you don't understand that, then I get it.
I would disagree. I
understand you disagree. That's the problem with people, is that they don't trust people. And then because they don't trust people, listen, do you agree with this? The way you see a person is the way you treat that person.
Say again, sorry?
Oh yeah, no, I would agree with that. I like that. I do agree with that statement. But
you have to agree with that because it's the truth. And if you don't agree with it, then you're not agreeing. You can't disagree with the truth. The truth is the way a person, listen, and especially when it comes to yourself, right? The way you see yourself is the way you treat yourself. If you don't trust yourself, then you will treat yourself as if you don't trust yourself. So Jillian, if you don't trust me, then you will treat me as if you don't trust me. Now, I trust you impeccably. So I will treat you with the trust that you deserve because you've done absolutely nothing to allow me to mistrust you. Nothing. You have done nothing.
I love that point, and I do agree with that point. And of course, I think, I do agree with that. However, I feel that question is quite controversial, and it's putting somebody like, I mean, for example,
it is controversial, and it's okay. You know, like I said, if people would ask me to be part of their survey, then they will have to make a new decision, because I don't beat to their drum. I don't.
I love surveys. I love surveys. I mess everyone up. I take part in because they just don't write them properly, do they?
But for example,
and statistics, I just don't do statistics, because somebody on the internet the other day put a statistic out. They put a tweet out saying 60% of the internet is on mobile devices. I thought, I wasn't on that survey. Did you get that survey?
Oh, even better. The one is 9 out of 10 cats prefer whiskers.
Precisely.
That was on that survey.
Well, I tell you what, Danielle, thank you. You've been a great sport. Jillian, you've been a great sport too. Trevor, I already know Trevor. I think Trevor already knows how crazy I am. I'm as crazy as they come.
No, but
I'm weird, but I don't think I'm a weirdo. So I appreciate the time. I'm going to jump off and give somebody else an opportunity to jump in on this if they'd like, or you can go back to what you were saying. But I just wanted to just jump in and share a little bit of food for thought. That's all.
We enjoyed having you here, Roy.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Bye, Roy.
I was going to say, I trust you with my wine. He's going up the food chain.
You see, I trust Danielle. The point you should start telling terrible jokes, and then it's like,
exactly. It's when we tell the jokes that Roy wouldn't trust us. Then if he heard my jokes, he wouldn't trust me.
Honestly, girls, you need to follow where I was yesterday.
Sorry?
Where I was yesterday. No one's trusting me after this. I was on page 3 of the Irish Mail on Sunday. Is it too far away? Or
if Roy's seen that, he may not trust you, or maybe he trusts you more. That's brilliant. Well done.
Gillian Gossell's books are being translated into Irish. Woo! But I read page 3, fully clothed, in the Mail on Sunday.
Incredible. So I think I don't know if anybody's still listening, but I loved what Roy was saying.
I called him Ray all the time.
Roy was saying, I'm not sure if he's still listening in, and I think it's a very, very good question what he asked. It is a controversial question. He likes to be trouble. He's messed up our happiness blab completely.
Well, the point being, why is it a controversial question? Because if you say to someone, "Do you trust me?" then the question is so simple. It's yes or it's no. If you trust them, unless you've got any reason not to, just trust them, because you can always take the trust back.
Yeah. No.
If I trust Roy and I give him my trust, if he looks after it and takes care of my trust, bingo.
That's true. So
if he gets it wrong and just messes up my trust, I can take my trust back.
Yeah, I get the point. I do get the point that
as soon as you say no, you've got the negative energy. Well, I'm not sure. I don't know. You don't trust him, and that's it. And then it's a much harder way to get that trust built back.
I get the point. Yeah, and I think a lot of the time, I think the point that yourself and Roy is trying to make is that we work the opposite way around a lot of the time, unfortunately, rather than starting off from a place of trust, and then if the person proves us wrong, then we distrust them. Exactly. We start the other way around. So I do get the point.
The point being, if everybody trusted everybody in this world, what a magical place this planet would be.
It's very true. And I think that's actually probably a really, I think it is. It's a very good point. It's got me thinking.
Really interesting. I've never thought of it in those terms before, because I kept on saying, well, what am I going to trust you with? I mean, do I trust you to come on to a blab? Yes. Do I trust you to have a chat? Yeah.
Exactly.
But I didn't realize what I was thinking. And again, I was thinking more, do I trust you with my money, with my child, with my work, with whatever? There's different levels.
He wants to come back. He wants to come back in.
I mean, I'll give you a little example. Many years ago, I was traveling on business many years ago, and I just pulled into a lay-by to get a Mars bar at the boot or something simple. And there was a girl in a car in front with a flat tire. And, I was in my 20s, she was in her 20s, and I do my own car mechanics, and I'm used to all that. But I was dressed in my suit because I was on business, and I went up to her and said, "Oh, do you need a hand, fixing your car, change the tire for you?" And she was so scared, she didn't trust me, because it's in a lay-by on a road in the middle of nowhere. I'll just turn up and say, "Oh, I'll come and help," And she was freaked out. So I just quickly made a hasty trace of fine. Okay, she said, "No, I called the whatever." Because there's no trust. And I drove away thinking, I couldn't push the point. But how sad was it that she didn't trust me, that I could have put the wheel back on the car, she'd have gotten away, and she'd have been quite happy, probably be friends for life, probably, who knows, But there was just that barrier there, that she was nervous, she was scared, whatever. You could just tell she was so frightened, and it was difficult that she's then stuck there, and somebody else could have come along. It's just very difficult. So, give out the trust, but be careful that if someone, messes that trust up, you can always pull it back. Sorry, Roy, carry on.
Yeah, no worries, Trevor. I was just going to address what Jillian was saying, because she said, "Oh, I'm looking at it from a different perspective now. It's like, oh, the trust here and the trust there." So Jillian, listen, people eventually do come around to seeing it the right way, I believe. And if I get a chance to unpack this, it will take hours. But here's what I need you to understand when I say I trust you. I trust you, Jillian, to tell me, Roy, the truth when we start to build our relationship. That's what I trust you with. And when people say, "Well, what do you trust?" What trust? No, it never depends. If I ask you, "Jillian, do you trust me?" The answer is either yes or no. Well, what do you mean? Trust me with what? I mean, do I trust you with my bank statement? Do I trust you with my car? No, wait, has nothing to do with that. You're thinking further than you need to. The very simple answer is, do you trust me with the information that you and I will share back and forth? Am I a complete liar? Well, you don't know that unless somebody else has already told you. Don't listen to that Roy guy, man. He lies the minute he sees you, the minute he tries to build a relationship with you, he will lie to you. Unless somebody's already told you that, and it's the truth, then you shouldn't have any preconceived ideas. You should just assume that the person, when you're interacting and asking each other questions, that they will share the truth with you. And when you find out that they're not telling you the truth, now you can no longer trust them. Now you can just kick them to the curb if you need to do that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The other thing I'd like to say real quick, and I'll jump out again, sorry, is if you're a teacher, I've said this often, if I'm a teacher, first grade teacher, I don't care, 12th grade teacher, I don't care, teacher of anything, college, it doesn't matter. If the first day, I want to tell my students, you guys, you all have an A. I trust you with an A. You don't have to build up. You don't start with 0. You have, let's say, 1,000 points. Let's say 10,000 points. You all have that. Now, if you do all the assignments, if you take all the tests, and you do everything that I tell you to do, I will simply subtract the points that you don't maintain. So you already have an A. If you maintain, you will have an A on your report card instead of building it up. And a lot of kids, in my humble opinion, would do so much better if they already knew they had an A to start with and it was theirs to lose rather than theirs to work up to. Enough said.
Very good. I'm sold. I'm sold. I'm a convert.
Do you trust? That's the question.
He's gone already.
That is so interesting. My head hurts.
Sorry?
My head hurts because that's so interesting. That is so interesting. I would never have looked at it in that way.
I think, I think we do really get his point, and I think it's a great point, and definitely we've learned something today. So we're going to be happier today for learning that, and starting off from a point of 100% trust rather than the other way around.
Well, don't forget to follow Roy.
Yeah, no, I followed him already. I was following him. Yeah, so he's a great guy, great voice, and I really loved and appreciated the point. So I will definitely keep that in mind today.
Well, I've learned something today, really, and I'm still thinking about it. Do you know what I mean? I'm going, wow, that's interesting. And the whole thing about the A, that I get that totally. Yeah. But the trust thing is not interesting. And the irony is that I'm quite a trustful person anyway. I'm like a gazelle. I'm like, everyone's lovely, and I love people, they're all gorgeous, and I wear rose-tinted glasses most of the time. But it's funny because I couldn't say I trust you to him. Isn't that interesting?
Well, I used to spend my previous career in purchasing, so I got lots of salespeople trying to sell me things. And you sort of think in that world of buyer, seller, it's all argumentative, it's negotiation, it's tough, it's testosterone businessmen. And I wasn't like that. I just, suppliers used to come and see me, and I said, look, if you trust me and I trust you, you like me, I like you, we just get on, and I need your product, you need my money. That's the deal. Let's just get on and do it. And the relationships I built lasted for many years because they knew as soon as they got it wrong, that was it. Bye-bye, I'll find another supplier. And that value of them knowing that I would just keep on buying from them if they did the right job, right price, right quality, right service, and cut the crap, just get on with it, stop messing about with all this game of business. It worked really well, and the relationships built and grew. And so I said to him, if you get it wrong, then you've lost the trust, and I will start looking elsewhere. So they had that incentive to keep going. I had the incentive to keep buying from them, and we built some very good relationships, because it started off with that 100%. That's where we're not starting on a zero. Well, I want a price, I want a discount, I don't know, all this arguing. We just started off like, this is what we're trying to achieve. You and me together, we're trying to achieve X. Let's start there and see how we get on. And if we stay there, it's brilliant. And it's so more efficient in terms of business, because you're not spending all that time to-ing and fro and arguing and negotiating and having all them power dinners, and lunches. And you mentioned me, I'd be twice the size of a bit without food, wouldn't I say? So yeah. it's just a different way of thinking. Anyway, girls, I've got 3 minutes before I fly, so I shall leave you one of Roy likes these one-liners. Happiness is a condition of mind, not a result of circumstance.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Trevor.
And with that, I shall say goodbye, and no doubt I may tune into Mindful Monday later on.
I hope so. What do you mean you may? You have to. See you later. Bye.
Good seeing you, girls. Bye-bye.
Bye. Of course, I can't tune in on Monday because I sing on a Monday night.
Oh, so, do you? Yeah.
Choir practice, and we laugh a lot, so we sing and laugh. It couldn't be better. Actually, the way you could improve choir practice for generating happiness would be to sing and laugh and put us all on a treadmill. So we're doing exercise and singing and laughing. So I don't actually get fit while I sing, but yeah, so.
That's brilliant.
Are we going to wrap up shortly? Well, tell me what things you did this weekend. 3 things. Three
things that I did this weekend that made me happy?
No, keep it clean. Keep it clean. We know about the romantic weekend.
Okay, besides that, just again being appreciative of the view and the beautiful places. The sunshine on my face, it was really, really nice to experience the warmth of the sun, and coming home to my lovely little puppy going crazy. He's not a puppy, he's a big dog. And my kids.
Okay, my 3 things. Ireland winning the rugby, yay! And of course, Ireland also beating, first of all, Germany during the week, yay! And then being page 3 girl, the weekend, yesterday's paper, with my clothes on, and being on Today FM with Shauna Scott, who runs an online sack shop in Ireland, a lovely girl, on Today FM on Sunday. That was good fun. Oh, I'm going to the Point to Point as well. I was Point to Point locally with my friends, with the horses. So I had a great weekend, very busy, very happy. Lots going on, kids good, sunshine out there now.
It sounds wonderful. Yeah. Okay, so I think we might finish up in a moment now, because we said we were going to do half an hour, but we've done an hour. But hi, laughing Elaine. Hi, Elaine. So yeah, Roy is asking, do you trust him now?
I trust him, and I understand the concept, and I love learning stuff. So that makes me happy, because that's totally turning my thoughts around 180, turning my thoughts around, because wow, I'd never thought of it in those terms. I love it.
I think absolutely, yeah. And I trust you too, Roy. I think you had a great message there. I really, really appreciate you coming on. Really, really good message. And we do take note of it. Absolutely. So come on anytime. We're doing this every Monday, myself and Gillian.
Yeah, although next Monday might be a different time because I'm at a conference, so I need to juggle time next Monday, whatever. But
yeah, we'll let you know. But it was lovely to have you all here. I hope you all got happy and learned lots of stuff. We don't have the link already, but we will put it up. Gillian will be putting it up next.
Yeah.
So we're taking it in turns. So Gillian will, once she decides when the right time is.
I have this journalist conference thing, but I might push it later in the evening. Maybe I'd do it just before I go home. Then maybe it might work.
Well, I can't do Monday evening because I'll be on radio.
Clock or something might work.
About what?
5 o'clock maybe. Is that?
Might, maybe, possibly 5 might do. But we'll talk and we'll put it up. Yeah, listen in to Charity Radio tonight from 9 to 11 for Mindful Monday. We have a great guy actually talking about happiness because Breffney Early, Gillian knows him.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So Gillian knows him. She put me in touch with him anyhow. So Breffney Early is a great guy who was actually suffering from depression and ended up traveling around the world. So Gillian has interviewed him a number of times, I think, and I'm interviewing him tonight on Charity Radio. So listen in 9 to 11 on Mindful Monday at All Charity Radio. So, and thanks for all the lessons. Thank you, Jeremy, for all the input there on the side there, Jeremy P. Murphy. And Roy and Laughing Elaine and obviously Trevor, busy, and everybody else that listened in. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you again. Keep mindful, yeah, keep smiling and keep dreaming big, yeah? Be happy. Be happy. I'll switch off, yeah? Bye, Gillian. Brilliant. Thanks a million. Okay. Bye, guys. Bye. Bye. Bye, Gillian. Bye, Jeremy. Thanks. Thank you. Be happy. Go be happy. Everybody, don't worry. Be happy. Absolutely. I'll play that tonight on Charity Radio. Bye.